Tzadik Test 99 today. Ton Rabbanon Omer Lahan v'Amru Lo. Right, we had this whole if two groups had gotten together is what the Mishnah told us, and we had a formula. He had to say to them, they had to say to him, and there was a certain situation where Oichel and Arishon, depending on who was shechted first, they could all eat from the first one. Now, it came out in the Mishnah, if lo Amr lahen the lo Amru lo, if both parties had remained silent, no one had said anything to anybody, that was the best. Each one who shechted Korban Pesach would have been able to eat from their own Korban Pesach. So that was sort of the best practice, being silent. That's where the Chachamim figured out sometimes it's better to be silent. Silence is the best for a thinking man. Okay. Then we had Shnaim Shnisarvu Psachim, and we had if two people got their Korban Pesach mixed with each other, they also got an Eitzah. So Lema Masnis and Deloy Rabbi Yehuda. The Mishnah was not like Rabbi Yehuda the Tanya. It says V'mimata bait mios miseh Malamed shemismatin v'roch muvachi echad mechabura kayam divrei Rabbi Yehuda. There can never be a period where everyone has withdrawn their hand from the korban. It's always there's always got to be at least one. And the way the Mishnah constructed it is that they all lifted their hands and then they sort of subscribed back. So obviously the Mishnah is not like Rabbi Yehuda, because according to Rabbi Yehuda, you can't have a Korban Pesach even for a few seconds without a specific corner. Rabbi Yossi Vachli Anichos a Pesach Kamoishihi. That means Rabbi Yossi says if they all want it, there has to be, Rabbi Yossi says there always has to be at least one. The original of the Bnei Chabura. Rabbi Yossi says it doesn't have to be the original Bnei Chabura. Rabbi Yossi, as long as you nominate people from the market, would also be okay. That's the point of distinction between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yochanan, the Gemara says, you know what? Rabbi Yochanan says, no, we could learn our Mishnah even according to Rabbi Yehuda. Filu ten Rabbi Yehuda. Kivan do Rabbi Yehuda ein shechtin sa pesach ala yachid. Rabbi Yehuda is the one that says you have to have at least two people. You can't shech for one person. So me'ikar lam nu yachrin abadekoi. So with Rabbi, he always had to have somebody else appointed with him, otherwise it wouldn't work. Okay, and therefore, even if you appoint a new person from the market, it's considered like the original chabura. And Ravashi Masnis Nami Deka. I'll prove to you from the language of the Mishnah, like we're learning, Diktani. The system just work one with one, but even five with five. But five with five others, shel chamisha in, aval shel chamisha varbo lo. But you can't do it five with four because lav mishum de lo payish chad b'nei chabur gabei. Because if you did it that way, there would be a situation where the original chabur would not remain. So you see, the language of the Mishnah seems to suggest that it was constructed to fit Rabbi Yehuda's sheet as well. Shema mina, good proof. Adlach mishayat tamei Okay, now we start with the last parak, Arvei Psachim. Mir Hashem, we will learn a lot about the dinim of the Seder over the next 20 blot, which will take us close to Pesach. So a lot of the dinim that we will learn in Parak Arvei Psachim will be a review of the halachas of the Seder, which is a good thing because it's timely. Arvi Psachim Samach La Mincha. So Mincha is 9.5 hours. So the Mishnah says, near Mincha, on Erev Pesach, Lo Yochel Adam Ad Shetechshach. You have to stop eating. You have to go into Yontif, the Yontif of Pesach, hungry. We shouldn't eat anything at Samuch LaMincha, which means Koidim LaMincha, a little bit prior to the Zman Mincha. So if it's 9.5 hours, normally, here would be from the 9th hour. Like 3 in the afternoon. I don't know, if it was from 6 to 6, it was a 12-hour day. Some say even Mincha Gedola, says the Shulchan Aruch, even from, but the Ikar Adin is from 9 hours in the day. Afilu Ani should be Yisrael lo yoichal ad sheyosei. Now, second halach of this Mishnah talks about the night of the Seder, that even an Ani Yisrael has to be able to lean because of Cherus. They brought a couch next to the table to be able to lean like a Ben Choyrin. Even an Ani Yisrael has to provide himself with that. Third halacha, you have to provide the Ani, even from the community chest, at least Daled Koisos Yayin. Because Daled Koisos, we're going to see, is a mitzvah midrabanan. So, and in fact, the Shulchan Aruch says, Choves gabei tzedakah lo seis arba koisos yayin laniyim. Yeah, and an ani has to sell his clothing or borrow money, or even rent himself out for work, in order to get money to buy the arba koisos. Now, asks the Gemara Ma'ir Yarvei Psachim, why do you give this halach only for Erev Pesach? This din that you have to stop eating Erev, Erev, it applies to Erev Shabbos, to Erev Yontif too. Well, what's the special about Erev Pesach? The Tanya, lo yochel adam b'arvei Shabbos v'yomim tovim v'yomim cholamalo. The din is you're not allowed to be koveya suda, Erev Shabbos, and Yomim Tovim after Mincha Ketana, after 9 hours. But we'll see there's no Isser in it. The Brisa says, we want you to enter into Shabbos or Yontif with a good appetite. No. You can eat up until nightfall. By the way, there were those people last night by Purim. When Purim is on Friday, I made my suda 11 o'clock in the morning. But there are people who made the suda like at 4 in the afternoon, and that's called poires mappa. That goes according to the sheet of Rabbi Yossi, because we paskin like Rabbi Yossi. It's not an isser to establish a meal. And there's a whole technique that when Shabbos comes, you get up, you daven Kabbalah Shabbos, you don't take the table away, and you cover the challahs with a mappa, like a Shabbos that's called poires mappa. So that whole technique is only Kon Rabbi Yossi, who says you're allowed to start a Suda after 9 o'clock, after the 9th hour of the day on Erev Shabbos. Rabbi Yossi. In fact, our Mishnah is really only for Rabbi Yossi, because Rabbi Yossi, even Rabbi Yossi will agree, Rav Huna is going to say, that by Erev Pesach is different. Rabbi Yossi says you can eat up until nightfall. Since the night of Pesach, there's a chiyuv midoraisa to eat matzah, that there he agrees that you should eat it b'tei avon, and you shouldn't eat something, after 9 hours of the day, Erev Pesach. So the way Rav Huna learns, our Mishnah is only relevant according to Rabbi Yossi. Rav Papa Rafilu Tem Rabbi Yehuda. Even Rabbi Yehuda's, the question is, Rabbi Yehuda has stated in the brisa we quoted that a person cannot eat every Erev Shabbos and every even Erev Sukkos and Erev Shavuos you can't eat from the Mincha L'Mala. So then what's the chiddush for Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah? So Rav Papa says, Afilu Tem Rabbi Yehuda. You could learn our Mishnah is giving us a chiddush even according to Rabbi Yehuda because Hasam be'arvi Shabbos is v'yamin tovim na Mincha L'Mala Huda Aser Samach L'Mincha Shari. Our Mishnah said Arve Psachim Samuch L'Mincha. Samuch L'Mincha means even before the Zman Mincha. The brisa that was quoted was Mina Mincha L'Mala. There's a difference of a half hour. Mincha L'Mala, Plaga Mincha is 9.5 hours. So by Shabbos and Yontif, the Isra is only after, according to Rabbi Yehuda, is only after 9.5 hours. Here, even Rabbi Yehuda holds by Erev Pesach, you have to extend that by 30 minutes to 9 hours. So it seems to imply then that by a regular Erev Shabbos, you'd be allowed to eat prior to the 9.5 hours. I mean, Samach L'Mincha. It seems to be permitted. Freik the Gemara of Erev Shabbos Samach L'Mincha Shari? Is that correct, that you're allowed to eat even prior to Mincha? Vatanya, lo yochel adam Erev Shabbos v'yamim tovim mitesha sha'os l'mala. Now, tesha sha'os means Samach L'Zman Mincha. Remember, Zman Mincha is 9.5. So here's a fair take of Baraisa that doesn't say Mina Mincha L'Mala, but says mitesha sha'os l'mala, which is the same as Samuch L'Mincha. Then we're back to our question, what's the chiddush of our Mishnah called Rabbi Yehuda? And why do you have to do Kadesh Yikanis Shabbos True Taiva? Did Rabbi Yehuda? And Rabbi Yossi, so we're back to our original question. What's the chiddush of our Mishnah called Rabbi Yehuda, who says even on a regular Shabbos, Erev Shabbos, you have to stop eating Samuch L'Mincha? Who says that this second brisa that you quoted is an accepted brisa? Dilma mishabeshtehi. Perhaps this brisa you quoted is, you can't ask a kashrman because perhaps it's not a authoritative brisa. Mishabeshte usually means it's confused, it's not authoritative, it may be a mistaken brisa. You can't say that. We're now on Kuf, Mario.
Yes,
right?
wait a minute.
Okay.
Yes, wait a minute.